is Taylor. Today I'm shooting part 2 of how I realized that I am most likely autistic. So I am self-diagnosed autistic. If you haven't checked out my last video, part 1, I actually don't want to be diagnosed for personal reasons. But I still think that getting these videos out would help other people, because maybe I'll talk about something that someone has never heard of before, and still share my own experience as a human being. So trait 1 is that most of my friends for my entire life have been older than me, like unless like I found them when I was in grade school. Friends I make on my own. Technically, I don't really make friends on my own most of the time, but friends who I've made on my own or people I've been drawn to on my own are usually like significantly older than me. Even like as a very, very small child, I preferred talking to adults, or like my brother had older friends. I have an older brother and he had older friends, and I would always like them or have crushes on them or whatever, and they would like come over and I tried to talk to them. I couldn't really talk to them either because then they thought I was weird. But adults though, I like talking to adults or just like listening to adults talk to other adults. And this kind of extended into my dating. Like I typically date men much older than me, and people think like, oh, it's like a daddy issue thing, but like I'm like that with my friends too. It's not just men. I think the moment I really like, I knew that already. Like, for one of the things that would get on my nerves is for like Thanksgiving or whatever, they would have like the adult tables and then like the kids table, and I hated that. I hated sitting at the kids table unless it was like maybe I was with my brother or like a close cousin who I really liked. I did not like that. I wanted to sit with the adults all the time, or like I would kind of be sneaky about like listening to my mom's conversations like on the phone and stuff like that, because I like learning. So being around adults, it's like if you're a child, it's almost inevitable that you'll learn something from them because like they have way more life experience. And then I like seeing like their perception of the world and their ideas, and also like their language is different. Obviously it's going to be a little more vast than someone of my age, or more diverse than someone of my own age. Also, I found that kids my own age, most of them, not all of them, just did not want to play the way I wanted to play, or they like the things I thought were cool they didn't think were cool. So number 2 kind of goes into masking a little bit, and that all my friends are kind of different for the most part. They're getting more similar now as I get older. I think because I'm Christian now, so I'm like really particular about the company I keep. But most of my life, like it would sound like a nightmare to put all my friends together, like to invite them all to one event. Like when I was really, really young, but to invite them all to one event and have them all together, like know each other, would like be like a nightmare for me, because I wouldn't know how to be. I like some of them know things about me that others don't know about me, and then like I would just think that some of my friends would think my other friends are weird. Like I remember my son's like 1-year-old birthday party. One of my particular friends, some people thought that person was weird, and but they were just judging that person by like their cover, like honestly. And I'm like, I kept having to be like, no, like they're cool, like like so that was just like to me. But basically with most people I meet, I just kind of camouflage myself to them, and it's not really a fine line, but it's not me being fake. It's like they're getting aspects of me, but I kind of like adjusting myself to them in order to like fit in, not to be a fake person. So that leads me into my next point, is that I've almost always had a difficult time maintaining friends. And I used to think this is because I grew up as a military brat. Like I had a military family, so we moved all the time, and I thought that was why. I thought like, oh, you're always moving, so you don't know how to keep friends because they always leave. Like you always have to leave, or they always leave. And I remember like this one girl when I was in, I think when I was in first grade, third grade, no, third grade. I don't know, at some point in my life. I remember having this one friend, and I remember she moved, and that was just like so like devastating to me. Her family was in the military too, and like she moved so far away, and like it really, really hurt, I think, really bad. So then I kind of got a little bit cold hearted to people where it's like I would make friends or have friends here and there, like one or two, but there was always like this barrier because I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to leave anyway, or they're gonna have to leave anyway, so let's not get like too close. And unfortunately, that kind of spilled into some of my relationships as well. Um, but yeah, just a difficult time maintaining friends. A lot of it is because I'm just like so low energy, so sometimes, and I feel bad about this, like from time to time I have moments, but sometimes like it just seems so exhausting to like respond to people, like if they text me, or I'm not so bad with phone calls anymore. I used to be. I used to dread, I used to hate. I had a period where I hated talking on the phone with like most people, but now I could talk on the phone to pretty much anyone. um like sometimes text messages, it's just, I think it's because it's like for the most part, it stops me from doing what I'm doing. I have to like sit and be all in the message or whatever, especially if I know it's going to be long. I have to literally like sit down somewhere, it just, and then next thing I know, 30 minutes have gone by and like I haven't done what I need to do, and then I'm drained or whatever. And it became, I remember in middle school when I tried socializing more and I tried like um managing multiple friends more, then my grades started to get affected. I couldn't do both. I couldn't be social and have good grades at the same time, or great grades, or as good as I want them to be. Like I could pass and all that stuff, but like I was used to being a very good student. So then when I realized that, I was like, oh, I just can't. I don't know how to have a balance. I don't know how to do it. That's been like the biggest struggle in my life for most things is I struggle to balance. It's kind of like all or nothing. um, I don't like that. I've gotten a little bit better where I'm trying to go out of my way. Like if I think about someone, actually text them and ask them how they're doing. Whereas before, I would just maybe think about someone would be on my mind, and I would just like imagine how they were doing, and then that like made me feel like I asked them. Like I guess because it's like just all in my head, and I would just like think about them like for a while and ponder, and I don't know, and like I guess I just like satisfied myself through imagination. And I kind of do this a lot with if I have a conflict with someone, or I would like to talk to someone about something that's conflicting for me, or have a deep conversation with someone about something that's on my mind and bothering me. I'll like go over it in my head so much that like all the energy into that, makes me feel like I talked to them even though I haven't. And that definitely becomes a problem in like relationships and friendships, because then I don't speak up about things that like really bothered me about way before or whatever. And I'm working on it. I'm like slightly better than I was, but I'm just non-confrontational because like angry people like scare me. I just don't like I'm chill with it now for the most part, but in the past, like I just, anyone who seemed like they had like anger problems, I just like run for the hills because it's just so unpredictable, and I just didn't like that. Right, so trait number 3 that helped me realize that I'm neurodivergent, autistic, is that I often, not just from everyone or anyone, but like at times, usually it's people like really close to me, I'll get told like I'm not listening, or what is the other thing I get? I can't remember exactly how it's like worded, but something like into that where they feel like I'm not listening, or I'm not even trying like their ideas, like even though like I am listening, or like I've already thought about their ideas, and like in my own, before I ever came to them to like talk about whatever I'm talking about, I've already like thought about it. And like I think it's just really hard for some people to conceive that, like they're like, surely you just, I think it just makes you come off as like a know-it-all, even though I'm not. And I don't know what to do about that, because I don't, I feel like if I don't tell them like and say like it won't work, or I bring it up, then like it'll just be open, left in the air, and then they'll be irritated because I didn't do the thing, instead of telling them like why I can't, like the thing won't work. And like they're like, well, I told you this, and I'm like, then I have to go through it again. Well, it's not gonna work because of yada yada yada, and it's like, I don't know, but people get irritated with that. And the whole not listening thing, that really confuses me, because like I'll be responding to them, and I'm like, when you're not listening, and I'm like, I know, I guess what they mean is like I'm not really getting it, but that's also not true, because like I'll know I know what they're saying, and then they say it again and again, and I'm like, yes, I got, like, and then it's just like so exhausting, because now I have to hear it on repeat, and I'm already responding to you about what I think, or or come giving like a different perspective or angle, and they think I'm not listening when I am. It's just because they're not understanding me, or maybe that's not what they want to hear, or maybe that's not what they're ready to hear. I don't know, but this really irks me, because like if I'm responding, I'm definitely listening. Like yeah, like that really like irks my nerves. Now, if I'm not responding, then maybe I'm not listening. I think it's the fifth thing. Number five is being hypersexual. It's so TMI, but yeah, I just like thought like I'm gonna make like a video one day about like just this topic in of itself, but I thought maybe like there's something wrong with me. But then I came across like the whole concept of like sex being like a form of stimming, like regulation and stuff like that, and like that's legit how it feels to me, and like that energy release, because like I actually can like feel more normal sometimes, like after, um and have like be less nervous, like in general. I don't know, it just like helps calm me down and like mellow me out. So yeah, but right now I'm celibate now. I've been celibate for like several years, so over over explaining everything. This comes from like, this is like a, in my opinion, this is like a trauma thing, like for like being autistic, and like people just not understanding you, like because certain once upon a time, like I was not like that when I was much younger, but then I just constantly felt the need to, because people kept getting it wrong, and the more I would try to like explain, the worse it would be. I think honestly this comes from just like, well, one, like people just thinking you're weird when you do share, and then two, just yeah, just the overall like just not being misunderstood, or like people not believing you, which this was a that was a really bad trigger for me as a kid. Like it's like there's actually like a family joke about it, and like it, I used to pretend like, I guess I sometimes still do pretend like it doesn't bother me. I finally brought it up to my mom like literally like last year. Um, and yeah, it does bother me. Still, like since I was like a little kid. um, but I think the oversharing comes from those things where having issues with it. You either like don't share because of like how people react, or you like can't help yourself. And I find like since I became a mom, like it's become a problem again. Hey, okay, so I had to cut the video short earlier because I had to tend to my son. C'est la vie. Yeah, and then he had a hard time going to bed. That was like different. Actually, the way it happened has never ever happened before. So I was like, oh, okay, great. um, yeah, so I find that now, like since I became a mom, especially like my son was born during the pandemic, so I spent a lot of time at home. I spend a lot of time at home anyway because I'm introverted because I'm autistic or whatever. And spending so much time with at the different stages of his life, a baby or toddler. Now he's 4, but spending so much time with him and not another adult who I can talk to, or different adults I can talk to. Um, when I do finally get around other adults, I tend to overshare because like it's just like waiting to explode out of me. That's bugging me. Um, so that I've been having a hard time like not oversharing when I normally like undershare. Like most of my life, I've been a person who undershares. The other thing that I never really thought this was like, I just thought like it's just a thing I have. I never thought much of it, but I guess it could be or could be considered something that is common for people with like autism or ADHD and autism is that like I have a terrible short-term memory, so like I'm super forgetful with like little things like maybe around the house or whatever, but then like I'll remember like random specific details, especially about like people or like maybe we went out to do something and I'll like I don't know, say we went to a restaurant and I remember that there was like a man who had like a gold ring on and like a blue shirt, but like I couldn't tell you what his face looks like or something really oddly specific about details about people and they're just kind of like, you remember that, and I'm just like, yeah, but it's like unimportant things a lot of the time. So I just remembering random strange details, and like my son's the same way. He'll be like telling me stuff, and then he'll be like, yeah, and then there was a man with like a green shirt, and then there was the bird that was flying around over our head, and like, I'm like, okay, but it's so funny because then like I notice the things too, and I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Like sometimes I need him to give me those like really odd details for me to like even know what he's talking about sometimes. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, that's another thing. Like I mentioned that about not remembering people's faces. Like I am not good with faces. Like I think it's kind of odd because I'm pretty visual, like I mentioned earlier, but I'm really good with names, not so much with faces. So like oftentimes, but I'm good with people like their energy or their voice. Like I'll remember their energy, their voice, or like their mannerisms. So if I just see someone and I happen to know them, I might not recognize them. But if I see someone who I know and then they start talking to me or I can overhear them talking to other people, then I might be like, oh, I know them. And I will like remember names pretty well. Uh, yeah. And the last thing is that like so much of my life I consider myself scatterbrained. Like that's just what I would say. And it gets on my mom's nerves because she's like, don't say that about yourself. And I'm like, but like it's like one of the most accurate things like about me. It's not even like it's just it is what it is. Like that's my experience. And like it's so interesting because there are a lot of ways I would describe myself that really actually points to autism, but I just had no idea like that's even a thing. Like with autism, I just thought like, oh, that's just odd Taylor things, like part of my personality, and I would account it to like, oh well, I'm an INTJ, or I'm Enneagram 5, so like, and then whatever didn't fit into that, I'd just be like, that's just me, or I don't know why I'm like that, but definitely consider myself scatterbrained, and like one of my more recent ways of describing it, especially since being a mom, is split brain. Like, I just feel like it's so good to explain it that way. And then I would already been describing it as like gear shifting a little bit, and I didn't know that was a thing in the community or whatever. Because I'll just describe it just like a transmission, like switching gear. Like it's so hard to switch gear. I feel like an old transmission sometimes, like when I'm doing stuff in the kitchen and then my son's trying to talk to me, and it's just like it's those little things like that that just like can exhaust me, even though like we haven't really done much in the day yet. Um, so yeah, split brain. Alright, so that's it for part 2 of traits I didn't know were autistic traits that I have. And yeah, if you want to check out my other video, you should definitely do that. I'll most likely make a part 3 because like there's a bunch of stuff. Or I might turn it into like some alternative style video. I don't know. So till next time.